public goods are goods that are both non-excludable and non-rivalrous. A good is non-excludable, so I'm just going to have the words up there because they're long words, and sometimes when people hear them, they can't take them in. So a good is non-excludable if it is possible to prevent or exclude non-paying customers from experiencing or using it. And a good is considered non-rivalrous if its consumption by one consumer does not prevent simultaneous consumption by other consumers, and if the cost of providing it to another individual is zero. So something that is rivalrous are seats in a theater. Like if I give it to the last person, another person can't join. Fresh air is non-rivalrous. So the perfect example of a public good is open source software. Other examples include free education, a healthy planet, access to law enforcement, clean air, and drinking water. The funding of public goods are a benefit to all society and are often provided for by governments and funded via taxation, as they are too important to be left to free market capitalism. However, public goods provision by governments is usually inefficient. This is mostly because coordination complexity around allocating funding fairly and efficiently. So you're probably wondering why I'm talking about public goods in a Web3 talk. So Web3 public goods protocols like Gitcoin raise money efficiently and provide a neutral way for individuals to fund and build public goods. Web3 brings benefits of transparency, coordination, and decentralization to public goods funding. Gitcoin is able to efficiently coordinate funders without needing to trust centralized entities, such as traditional crowdfunding platforms. Furthermore, Gitcoin employs a quadratic funding model, which scales funding in a democratically efficient way. So as you can see here, I'll explain the diagram anyway. This is achieved by matching every single donor's contribution with the deep pockets of large foundations. So the idea is that if a wide group of people signal the value of a public good through their willingness to pay, then it makes sense to prop them up with institutional funding. So for example, if I was to vote with $10 and UCL was to vote with $1 million for different things, we would have the same voting power because the way that it's one-to-one, right? I've voted and they've voted. But actually what you're signaling that it's one-to-one. And so therefore UCL's funding amount would actually be less than, and I would get more. So it's pretty cool. You can go try it out if you go on Gitcoin and go vote for some stuff. So far, actually, Gitcoin has raised $55 million in funding for open source projects. They're really interesting. So another exciting development is retroactive public goods funding. This was actually proposed first by Vitalik Buterin, who's the creator of Ethereum. So an exciting development on this front is the introduction of the Optimism Collective last month, actually, whose purpose is to produce strong public goods infrastructure for optimism, which is built on Ethereum, to increase its utility and therefore create a useful economy for all to build on. So if you look at this, it's like this circular economy thing, like let's all build each other up. And I think it comes back to like the culture of like WAGMI and like we're all going to make it. It's like, how do we actually build things to lift us all up rather than this like zero-sum game? And that's just a meme, which I quite like. Anyway, you can see here how the funding, so this is actually a tweet by Vitalik, the creator of Ethereum, talking about, so he got in a bit of trouble because he was like, didn't like apes. It was like the Bored Ape stuff, the NFTs. And he said, I don't hate apes, I just want them to fund public goods. So although there's some exciting developments in public goods funding, considering the massive amount of money in the ecosystem, we still have a long way to go, and many projects which would benefit the whole ecosystem still struggle to get funding.